our last speaker for this first half of the program. As of last night, I have to confess that I wasn't able to, I misplaced Jim's bio for today's program, so I was forced to go online and Google him. And this is what I was able to piece together for him. Apparently, Jim was never born. Or at least I couldn't find any clear record of this particular Jim Ruffalo's birth, at least. He may be the same Jim Ruffalo who graduated from Essex Catholic High School in Newark, New Jersey in 1967, although he looks way too young to be that guy. I'm willing to bet that Jim wrote for the Daily Titan newspaper in the fall semester of 1974 at Cal State Fullerton. By spring 1975, Jim was elevated to sports editor. Soon afterward, it appears that Jim was writing for the Orange County Register and soon became a celebrated sports journalist. One thing's for sure, I don't believe he's the same Jim Ruffalo who is the drummer for Rock Heart, who is a tribute band playing Heart, Quarter Flash, and Meatloaf cover tunes on the East Coast. This morning he was able to confirm for me that he did graduate from Cal State Fullerton, majoring in history and minoring in political science. In addition, Jim did write for the Orange County Register for 20 years. He's also written for the Journal, the Union, and worked at the radio stations KNCO and KAHI here in Auburn. I still haven't been able to confirm if he was ever born. But with that, let's welcome Mr. Jim Ruffalo.
Now, Ryan, if you had accessed the witness relocation program, you probably would have gotten a lot more info on that. And a couple of things to think about. First of all, that photo thing, you don't know how important that is to get your own professional photo, because if you don't, we have photos in our files that are much worse than anything you can give us, and we're not afraid to run them, and we will do that. Of course, I'm from Chicago. That's where I was born, by the way. And back there, your candidate's photo usually has a set of numbers under it, so it's a little bit different out here. Somebody said something about going to the Sacramento Bee to get your photo. Two things. One, if they don't think you're important enough to have your male photo and that you have to go in there, forget about it. First of all, the people that read the Sacramento Bee, most of their minds are made up what they're going to do. You're not going to sway a single vote in the Sacramento Bee. Stick with your local media, because people that read local media, they want to know what that siren was that they heard going down the street the other day. They want to know what's going on in their neighborhood. They're more attuned to local elections, and all of you guys are going to run in local elections. And beside that, just tell the Bee, look, price of gasoline, blah, blah, blah. Then put that in one of your campaign mailers, because that's the only way you're going to get gasoline in a local election. And you really want to jump on that, because that's going to be the issue in this next election. One of the things you want to do, Kirk mentioned, a couple other people mentioned, Rotary, Lions, get your mug out there, get your face out there. Don talked about, at parties, come up and shake his hand. The thing you need to go to, and Bill Kirby does this, if you're going to run locally, especially in Auburn, get over to the Meddlers. It's every Tuesday morning, City Hall, the Rose Room. And it does two things. It gets your face known, gets your name known, but also it really helps you define what the issues are going to be locally, because every week somebody's there talking about an issue, an expert, somebody who knows something about it, or would know Jim Holmes personally. Don't you keep him on a shorter leash? But really, get to the Meddlers, or if you have a group like that in Granite Bay or whatever, get to those things. Those are the things that you really need to go, because it demonstrates a sincerity, and once you can fake sincerity, you've got it made. I mean, you're set after that. I'll give you a tip. There's a thing that no one's talked about. I bet you talk about in the second part of this. In lieu, you go out and gather signatures. It helps you lower the amount it takes to run for that office, to get on the ballot and all that. If you don't get enough in lieu signatures to qualify, don't run. Because that's a tip-off on how many votes you're going to get. So if you can't do it, my suggestion is find another career. Get in that. They also talked about money. Use the Unruh quote, very famous, mother's milk of politics. two things. One, Obama's got all the money. You're not going to get any. And the second thing is there's never enough. There is never enough money to run a campaign because two things are going to happen. You're going to think of something else you could have done, or should have done, might have done. And secondly, your campaign manager, your consultant, he's going to come up with a bunch of ways because he gets a pop of all that. And he's always thinking of things, you know, how can we spend more money? That's no offense, sir, but you have a good day job, and we're going to vote you a raise here pretty soon, so not to worry. Direct mailers. And Kirk alluded to this. What do you guys do when you get a direct mailer, especially that OC McClintock thing? And you notice all of them were airmail because none of them lived in the district. What did you do when you got them? Anybody read them? Mine went right in the trash can. Nobody reads those things anymore, especially those so-called slate mailers. And what you do is a guy in Torrance or somebody else somewhere else, and what they do is, well, we're Prop 13 people, and you want to be on the right side of Prop 13, and they'll put these slate mailers. I got one from a candidate in Assembly, well, it was Sue Horn, that's who it was. She lost, she can't hurt me. Same day, I got a mailer where she was on both sides of the issue. One slate says, I'm Foursquare for drowning kittens, and the other one says, I'm Foursquare for saving kittens. So, you know, don't waste your money on those. They're an absolute waste of time. Another thing you don't want to do is stress political parties, because frankly, both major parties, at least in Placer County, they're on the decline. They're turning into dinosaurs real quick, and I don't know what you can do. Maybe libertarian, no, that's, but do not use decline to state, because if you think about it, that's really an oxymoron, isn't it? I mean, I decline to state? That's an active verb, folks. Let's think about it. Come up with inventive ways, innovative ways to get your name out there. That's also been alluded to. One of the things I always toyed with, I played in politics when I was in college because it's a good way to make money without working. And I always wanted to do block parties. I thought that'd be great. You know, you have a block party, the candidates out there, there's food here, there's drinks here, there's a band playing there. It's a great way to meet people. So, you know, especially all the cul-de-sacs here, because nobody wants a street that runs all the way through their tract anymore. So there's all these cul-de-sacs. Do a block party. Come up with new ways out there to do things. We quoted Jess Unruh. A person we haven't quoted is Tip O'Neill. And I look here, and many of you are way too young to remember who Tip O'Neill is. But he always said that all politics is local, and it assuredly is. So if you can, pardon me, if you can, a little Chicago coming in there, if you can, localize an issue. Even if it's an international issue, a national issue, try to localize it. Because we talked about earned media. Kirk talked about that, where you get a freebie, it didn't cost you anything to get in the paper. Well, there's also ancillary media. And it's where if you kind of localized an issue, and all of a sudden that issue's on the network news lead item, or it's front page of your paper, subconsciously, or maybe even consciously for that matter, the voter's going to link you to that. And name recognition, name retention, that's the name of the game. That's how you get elected. And the lower down the ballot you are, the more important that becomes. So, you know, try to do that. Don't localize the gasoline issue, whatever you do, because you're going to look like a pandering politician. Every one of us knows how bad it is. None of us have a solution that will pass muster. We all know what the answer is, but we're all afraid to bring it up. It's actually produce more product, but you know, why let economics get in the way of a good thing? And frankly, when gas goes to $5, the guy that goes up the ladder to put that 5 on, he'll be immediately shot off that ladder. So that's when the revolution begins. When gas hits $5, you'll know about the gunfire.